Good morning, my darlings, my angels, my loves, my he's, my she's, my theys, he's, she's, and theys. Hello, welcome. Mother is in the house, coming to you live from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Welcome to the Kayse Melone broadcast. My name is Kayse Melone, and I'm so glad you're here. We've got a lot of interesting stuff to look at today. I've really been thinking a lot about organized religion. I know that's such a surprise. I literally never think about organized religion. I literally never think about Christian nationalism, right? I'm always thinking about very super chill, just kind of like run-of-the-mill kind of conversations. I'm not radical in any way. I don't care about the state of the country or the world. Like, climate change is a hoax, bro. There are lizard people in office, and I'm just not even worried about anything related to religion and politics. Just kidding. Here we are. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday morning, Kayse and community. Hello, I'm so glad you guys are here. Holy cow, we have a lot going on. You guys. In the world, yes, there are really important things I want to talk about. I want to talk about why people are leaving religion. I brought a few articles for us to look at here in a little bit. And they are really cool articles. We've talked about it a little bit. Yeah, I'm the white moderate MLK warned us about, mostly because I love to identify as a liberal, personally. Yeah, that's hilarious. Hashtag sarcasm. I have been so floored just these past couple of days. Yesterday I slept in, and wasn't able to live stream in the morning, and I didn't even post a clip yesterday. I found that posting clips on Friday afternoons, because I usually will live stream in the morning and then post a clip of one of my recent live streams around 3 in the afternoon. But I had found in the past several Fridays that posting at 3 p.m., for some reason, I think that my audience does not see Friday afternoon clips. So I just let it be. So I didn't do anything on YouTube yesterday, which is crazy. Hi, first time. Hello, welcome. Hello, new subscribers. Hi, everyone. But yeah, I didn't post anything on YouTube yesterday, which is crazy. I very much, the reason I was joking about calling myself a liberal is because it's in reference to the idea of the difference between leftists and liberals. And a leftist, just a very oversimplified, generalized breakdown here. A leftist looks at the Democratic Party and the Republican Party as both essentially equally corrupt, and is not in, because liberal Democrats, the Democratic Party still upholds capitalism. In a lot of ways, they can be described as controlled opposition that the ruling elites, because the same corporate systems fund both the Democratic Party members and the Republican Party members in order to create this binary of political opposition that people can squabble over on the level of the working class, instead of the working class banding together and toppling the system in the first place. So I'm kind of further left than what would be called a liberal in this house. Sorry, a liberal or a Democrat, because I think the entire system is corrupt. And that's why MLK said that, is it MLK who said that? I thought it was someone else. Okay, that's on me for not knowing. But said that the white liberal is the most dangerous figure to the civil rights movement, because it is a matter of a liberal or a Democrat or someone who's kind of part of the controlled opposition will say that they're on the side of liberation for all and human rights for all and dignity for all, but then still uphold the system in the first place. And so that's kind of the distinction between leftists and liberals. Again, that's very oversimplified, and I still have a lot to learn about political theory, but that's why in this house, we're liberables. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I was saying that. But yeah, I today want to talk about religion as a fading system. Goodbye, God. Goodbye, religion. Not necessarily goodbye, God, for everyone. More people are leaving religion than they are leaving theism, which I think I'm an atheist, and so I think we atheists need to have plenty of room for theists in the future. I think it's so frustrating for me when atheists when atheists make any kind of stance of like, well, people who are theists, even if they're spiritual, not religious, or religiously unaffiliated but believe in a God, whatever, there's no room for them. Like, they're still believing in fairy tales, all of this stuff, and I just, I just think that is an embarrassing take for a lot of atheists. Man, my bangs are banging today. They're finally like getting trained to go forward and not to the side like they were before I had the bangs. So that's really exciting. Yes. I'm so excited that for everyone to be here. Oh my gosh, you guys, this community is growing like crazy. The accelerated rate of growth is just popping off. We have so many awesome people in the Discord. My YouTube channel and the Discord is finally at the point where I can't keep up with everything. Like, I literally cannot keep up with every comment. I cannot keep up with all of the chats. And so I have got to shout out my recently appointed Discord admins who have kind of taken some of the reins. We should all be so thankful for them, and also very proud of me for delegating, because I don't have control issues, I swear. No, but they have done awesome work. They are very, very not just helpful to me, but I think very I think the community is really benefiting from having them be super involved and care a lot about the people in the Discord, in the Kayse and Friends Discord. They are doing a wonderful job of creating both a safe and an engaging community on the Kayse and Friends Discord. We are just getting started. I think there's like, the last time I looked, 80 people in the Discord, and that number grows every day. So every time we have someone new, it's leaning left. Oh my gosh, what an actual tragedy. Yeah, you guys, don't ever let my bangs flop. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously the priority. Yes. Thank you, Brad. Be sure to tip your wait staff and Kayse. Yes. I got my first like tip for creating content. So like, I have my like PayPal linked in all of my stuff, and you can just like donate or whatever. And someone finally tipped me for the first time because of my video talking about Christian Zionism, which that video I think is like, it's really popping off. It's the video called Christian Zionism, here, let's look. Oh my gosh, thank you, Brad, for the membership gift. Thank you, everyone. You guys, also, look at this. I swear to Goddess, last week we were at 5K. Oh my Goddess. This is popping, like, the number of subscribers is also growing like crazy. Like, let me see if I can pull this up. So the rate of like gaining new subscribers was very much, I mean, I was lucky if I got like 100 subscribers a day. Okay. And okay, I can't show that without showing. Okay. That's okay. We won't pull up my analytics. But the number of subscribers I was getting every single day was around 50. It was a good day if it was 100 subscribers a day, right? And the past 2 days, I've been getting like 400 and 500 subscribers a day, which is crazy. Okay, let's look at this post, because yesterday, I'm pretty sure I posted this yesterday. Maybe it was 2 days ago. Two days ago. But this 5,555 subscribers and 6,666 subscribers was taken 8 days apart. 8 days apart. This was 2 days ago. And we are over. I missed the 7,777 mark. I missed it because it was growing so fast. And I think you guys are a big part of that. I think you guys showing up every day is a big part of that. So this is crazy. This is crazy. I know. Yeah. Shout out to Brad for consistently gifting subscriptions, which is awesome. Remember all of us when you have a limo driver. Of course. What do you mean? What limo? I'll still be here. You know what I mean? Like I'll still be here hanging out with you guys. So this is awesome. This is like crazy to even watch how much it's growing. It's hard to like look away from my phone because I'm just sitting there like refreshing. I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? What is happening? But I am just so incredibly like excited for how we are all building this together. Like that's why I finally I was just like, I need help in the Discord. I can't do that. You know, like I'm tapped out. In order for me to continue bringing the best content, the best conversations with you guys, like, you know, the pressure's on. We got to do this. So yeah, let's kind of get into some of the stuff that I wanted to talk about, which was prompted by this article that I read. So as many of you know, I subscribe to many different Substack newsletters because I think it is a great place to get information outside of the mainstream media conglomerate. And one of my favorite writers is Hamilton Nolan. Let's take a look at him. I started reading his work. I mean, it had to be before last year. And he writes about labor and politics. And like before I was even really aware of labor history and the labor movement and workers' rights. I mean, obviously, you know, I grew up, you know, I learned about May Day and the Haymarket riots and all of that. But he's a really good writer. He's got a lot of really interesting stuff. And so he's one of my favorites. The Failure of Warren Buffett. This is a really, really, really interesting read because it talks about how Warren Buffett does a lot of like benevolent capitalism shit. And he does a lot of work, not just like philanthropy style, but he calls out, you know, Republicans and Democrats. He encourages people to invest so that everyone can get, you know, their slice of the pie in capitalism. But the article really just sums up like how even the best version of capitalism isn't good enough. So that was a really good article. But are you guys talking about Christian Zionism? Yeah, so I'm actually pretty glad that my video about Christian Zionism is doing pretty well, 10K views in one day. I'm glad it's doing well because the point of this video, well, this is a clip from a live stream we did the other day, and the point of the live stream was to talk about how of all of the many ways that Christianity is harmful, of all of the many ways that it holds people within the church back, how it teaches women to subjugate themselves for men, how it promotes LGBTQ discrimination, how there are a lot of harmful beliefs even here in the United States. The worst result, the most horrific and violent result of even evangelical Christianity that I was raised in, that I was indoctrinated into, is Christian Zionism, and how it is propping up the apartheid state of the state of Israel in order to ethnically cleanse an entire group of millions of people from the Middle East, from the land of Palestine. And that is why I am quite okay with this video doing so well, because if I have any message to get out there, obviously it's the one that's resulting in the most harm. Like that's super important to me. And that live, our live streams, you guys are actually picking up too in views as well. And that live right here has about 5,000 views as well. So that's really awesome that people are resonating with that message. The emails and the comments and the messages I get in response to this particular conversation are in so many ways the most meaningful to me, because it makes me really it makes me really glad to know that people understand how serious this is. I take it very seriously, and I'm glad that that conversation can be continued. So yeah, I swim in a world built by Christianity. Everything you hold to be good and true is a product of the Judeo-Christian creed. Okay, I disagree with that entirely. I think that morality was built by people, not by God, but okay. Got it. Sorry to say there's no such thing as a benevolent billionaire. Even their charities and donations are some form of tax evasion or racketeering. Yeah, absolutely. That was the point of Hamilton Nolan's article. The subtitle was even the most benevolent form of capitalism is still part of a broken system, and it doesn't do more good than harm. It still does more harm than good. So yes, absolutely. And so this article of Hamilton Nolan's, I've never seen this writer talk about religion, so I was very interested in what he might have to say. And so I want you guys to be able to see both me here. Hold on. Let's do it like this. Let's do this. Okay. So this was in response to, obviously you want to see me a little bit, right? This was in response to the new pope, who this? Look at the new pope. And I was very intrigued. I was like, ooh, what's he gonna say about religion? What are you talking about? You are not religious. Why would you be? And so this was a really good read. If you guys are not on Substack, I really recommend it. Let's look at Substack really fast. I really recommend it because it just has so much really good. This is another one of my favorite writers. This is another one of my favorite writers, J.P. Hill. Earthseed Abolition, Anti-Capitalism, his writing called his newsletter called New Means, his publication, I love. He has a really good take on organizing. So this is another really good writer. But like, if you need somewhere to scroll, right? If you need somewhere to spend your time, like online, I highly recommend Substack because one, there's no ads. I'm going to say that again. There are no ads. And two, this is like long form content. So there is a feed where you can just like see, posts and videos and pictures and stuff, but it's long form, right? Like there are articles talking about very real stuff. This was a really good article about our cognitive reasoning being outsourced to artificial intelligence. There's a lot of really awesome progressive and political and religious commentary on Substack. I just love it so much. I just love it so much. Yeah. Obsessed with trees telling sidewalks to fuck off. That's great. So yeah. So that's good. Ariana Jasmine is really good. So I really loved this article. I thought it was really interesting because where is it that he talks about atheism? So essentially, and I'm not going to read it word for word, but essentially he breaks down like everyone is agnostic. The title is You Are Not Religious, Why Would You Be? Everyone is agnostic because at the end of the day, we really just can't know. We just cannot know. Where does he say that? Oh, yeah. First opening line. When asked about your religious belief, the correct response is agnostic. It means I don't know. That's a fact. You don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. The origin of the universe, the true nature of reality, existence after death, please. We only discovered atoms a couple of hundred years ago. Quantum physics 100 years ago. Then there was string theory. This is a really good take because I agree with that in a lot of ways. And one thing that I try to talk about, but that is not really as easy as what I'm about to say, is the difference between agnostic and atheist. So I talk about how, according to the Pew Research Center, the religious landscape survey that they do every 7-ish years, according to that survey, 7% of self-proclaimed atheists claim to believe in God. Right? So if 7% of atheists say that they believe in God, or some form of God or whatever, what is going on with the word atheist? And I think it's important to just like let people call themselves whatever they want. Honestly, I understand that it's not accurate to say that an atheist can believe in a God, but who am I to say, who am I to judge, whatever. So when I talk about these definitions, it is so oversimplified, it is so generalized, and in a lot of ways, like, people may think differently. But for the sake of this conversation today, we're going to talk about the difference between how atheism has to do with the belief in God. Agnosticism has to do with the recognition of knowledge. Okay, so the opposite of agnosticism is Gnosticism, right? So it's either knowing or not knowing. It is the nature of what we can or cannot know, the nature of whether or not we can reach an understanding of truth in the first place. And so in that sense, I 100% understand Hamilton Nolan's take here. Like, I agree. I think at the end of the day, we really cannot know. We really cannot know what's going on with reality. I don't think we can. The more we learn scientifically about the state of the universe, the less we fucking know. And I think that will continue forever. The more we learn about reality and physics and the material world we live in, the less we will know. I truly believe that. So I completely agree that in a sense we're all agnostics. We are, because we just don't fucking know. But Nolan then goes on to talk about atheism, which is different in the sense that it's whether or not you believe in a God. And for my understanding of atheism, the reverse being theism, which is the belief in a God, right? My take on atheism is not to say that I believe there is no God, like I believe absolutely without a doubt I know for certain what's going on outside of this universe, but rather I don't believe there is enough evidence to say there is a God. Does that make sense? I think that nuance is very important. It's why I call myself an agnostic atheist, because I don't know for certain what's going on outside of this universe. I don't think it is useful to pretend to know about supernatural phenomenon. I don't think that is relevant. I don't think it's reasonable or whatever. And so when I call myself an atheist, it is to say I don't believe in the supernatural, and I don't believe there's enough evidence to say for certain whether or not there is a creator being. Are there any atheists who are not agnostics, which is to say, are there any atheists who consider themselves Gnostics, or like to say that they know for certain, they think they know for certain? Yeah, absolutely. There are agnostic atheists, there are Gnostic atheists, there are Gnostic theists, and there are agnostic theists. Do you guys understand there that like all of that is possible? At the end of the day, the human experience is complex. There is a multiplicity to it. It is not on us to pick apart someone's, definition and tell them like, actually, technically you're a Gnostic theist. Like, no, like, calm down. Let people discover their own definitions on their own journey. Like, we can do that. We can do that in this house. But one of the things that I do critique about the atheist community, and when I say atheist community, it's not about an actual organization of people. It's not about an institution. It is literally, when I say atheist community, I literally just mean anyone who calls themselves an atheist. That's it. That's why when we say 7% of atheists believe in God, like according to that religious landscape survey, that's fine with me. You're still in the atheist community in my book, okay? That's just what this house is going to refer to when we talk about the atheist community. But one of the things I push back on when I talk about the atheist community is how having the hardline stance of there's nothing beyond the material world, there's nothing that exists. I think that is way different than saying there's nothing we can know for certain. There's nothing we can measure beyond this physical reality. I think those are two very different things, and something I push back on. Hey, if we have a Christian in the house, if we have a Christian in the chat, like, they're welcome here. They are totally welcome here, as long as they're not evangelizing. Okay, as long as they're not trying to convert someone to their religion, to their belief system, like, everyone is welcome here. So So Hamilton Nolan talks about atheism here, right here. This is the sentence I wanted to point out. Many people turned off by the coldness of agnosticism or the haughtiness of atheism, which combines the dissatisfaction of agnosticism with the determination to be rude about it, describe themselves as spiritual. That is like that sentence has so much to do with my work that it's not even funny. Like, it is kind of funny. But, oh, thanks for the super chat. What do we have to say? I'm an agnostic, non-divinical Christian. That is to say, I don't deify Christ, but I like the teachings. So that is solid. Yeah. Welcome. That makes total sense. I know there are a lot of people who I like that sentence. I don't deify Christ. I think that is a very key sentence that really sets you apart as far as like how far you've gotten on your deconstruction journey. I think that is very, very key. Not deifying a single any person ever is like bare fucking minimum for having like a, not just a reasonable perspective, but I think a healthy and ethical one. So thank you for pointing that out. That's very interesting. Someone else. Oh yeah. Twitch chatter said, ooh, feel attacked. Yeah. Hello, welcome first time chatter. What's the term for I don't care, Lucas? I don't care I don't care. I say that a lot too. I don't care what's going on behind the scenes. I care about what kind of like spiritual practices work. I care about how to help people in the material world. Like, I don't care if there's nothing going on beyond the material world. I am here to improve the material conditions of people, period. Like, I don't care if there is a spiritual war going on. I don't think there is. I don't think there's evidence that demonic forces exist or a creator being exists. I don't care. I don't care what's going on. I will fight for the people who are being exploited. I will fight for people who don't have a voice. And it does not matter to me what's going on behind the scenes. I do not give a fuck. I think it can be useful to kind of reclaim a lot of the mystical traditions and spiritual practice that have worked for millennia and are not tied to religious belief, are kind of supersede any individual sect or denomination or belief system, such as the concept of working with your inner child, right? Like, I think that a lot of people might think it is, but it's not actually you connecting literally with a version of yourself in the past, right? Like, as much as we can talk about how time is just a relative phenomena that is not fundamental to this reality, it is not fundamental to the physical reality we know of ever since, which is something we have learned in 2022 with the Nobel Peace Prize winners who proved that space-time is not fundamental to this reality, right? And at first, like, that discovery was not widely accepted among the scientific community. But Vince? I actually don't know how to pronounce that. That's like is it Vince? I don't know how to pronounce your name. That's so funny. But I was raving about you earlier though. I was thanking you and Matt for how much work you're doing in the Discord, but anyway, I was talking about, what was I talking about? Hi, good to see you. No. Oh my God, I'm so tired. What was I talking about? Sorry, I got distracted by my awesome Discord admin. Okay. Oh yeah, the 2022 Nobel Peace Prize winners proved that, time and space, thank you, Lucas, proved that time and space are not fundamental. We just call him Vin? All right. Proved that, oh, we have another membership gifted. Thank you, Brad. Oh my gosh. Oh, you guys are so awesome. This is, I do that all the time, Kayse. Yes, thank you. Thank you guys for being awesome. Awesome. So yeah, I just think that this sentence right here is so indicative of all of my work. Oh, that's what I thought that you were referencing Nietzsche. So it's Vincha? Vincha. That's so fun. That's what I thought. I was like, I was like, that's got to be Nietzsche. Yes. So this sentence, I feel like it just, like, the whole sentence speaks so much to all of my work, you guys, to everything I care about, First of all, Nolan here is, kind of referencing atheism and agnosticism as an either or situation, which, as we just talked about, are really talking about two different concepts, which is whether the nature of knowledge, the nature of knowing, and what the belief in God, right? And whether or not we can believe in God. So, Nolan here says, many people turned off by the coldness of agnosticism or the haughtiness of atheism, which combines the dissatisfaction of agnosticism with the determination to be rude about it. That's so fucking funny to me, because that's literally what I talk about all of the time, and how so many hardlined atheists take such a stance to push people away, to prove the stereotype of the angry atheist, which, again, there's so many reasons to be angry at religion. Like, I'm not debating that, but all of that to say, then describe themselves as spiritual. And I like how he gets into, this is less of an actual category of belief than a mark of yearning. Well fucking said. Oh, that's what I was talking about. Inner child. Right. And how space-time is not fundamental. So basically, all of that to say that I think that there are so many spiritual and mystical traditions that we can kind of bring with us into the future, and allow for a sense of meaning and purpose and connectivity and all of the wonderful things that religion, the good parts of religion, right, before it gets organized and humans get involved and fuck it up. And how, this sentence, the reason this sentence stood out to me so much is because it brings up the fact that I think that so much of the atheist community really doesn't leave room for the yearning. I love that word yearning in relation to the word spiritual. That I hadn't used it like that before, and I just really love it. Love it. I understand that religion is a myth, but I still want answers, the word spiritual says. It represents a lack of conviction and aversion to full acceptance of our limitations. Yes, fucking exactly. This is exactly what I've been saying, as you guys know. It is an embrace of the fact that there is more out there than we know, accompanied by a refusal to embrace. Oh, well, okay. No, he does diverge. I forgot. He does diverge a little bit and say that spiritual, this is so funny. I'm like disproving my own point. But then goes on to say how spirituality is just kind of like a comfort for people who everyone actually is, when everyone is actually agnostic. My gosh, I can't talk today. But I don't refuse to embrace the fact that we will never know what it is. I embrace the fact that we will never know what it is. And that's what I call spiritual. So there's that. But this is a really good article talking about how in response to the new pope, there is a new pope, a chief administrator of a religion that claims 1 billion adherents. Oh my goddess. He is important politically. Yeah, no shit. He is important culturally. He is important as celebrity, as boss, as one who wields influence over many. He is, however, just a man from Chicago, a man selected by his peers in a political process to occupy a seat of power. It is funny to watch certain people who say they embrace the Catholic faith, let's just name J.D. Vance as an example, become upset and petulant when they disagree with the Pope's pronouncement. Hey, buddy, you're the one who says that you embrace a religion in which this guy is supposed to have some special ability to make holy judgments. If you don't agree with his judgments, there's an easy solution. Don't be Catholic. Don't be Catholic. Why would you be? It is, like all religions, riddled with clearly absurd assertions. Oh, man. It is obviously pretty goofy to turn an extremely threadbare outline of knowledge about a 2,000-year-old Jewish activist named Jesus into a set of rigid ideological claims to absolute truth. Well said. This is just a really great article. Religions have great significance. They have had great impact on world history, on cultures, on wars and conquests and politics and economics. They should be studied by anyone who cares about the affairs of the world. Hello, Kayse and Friends community. Because they influence those affairs. Hello, Kayse and Friends community. And they should be understood for what they are. Institutions that have grown up around popular mythologies that derive their power from their willingness to provide answers to questions that cannot be answered, to satisfy the basic human yearning for certainty in an uncertain world. There is nothing disrespectful about saying these things out loud. It would be more disrespectful to deny them because it would imply that there is some special class of people who are incapable of absorbing the normal building blocks of human knowledge that are available to the rest of us. Come on now, you may enjoy the cultural trappings of religion. You may appreciate its history, its great cathedrals, its art and poignant turns of phrase, and specific moral teachings. It is fine, preferable in fact, to feel all of these things without declaring that you are in fact religious, because I don't think you really believe all of the made up stuff. I have too much faith in you. A really good article. Even though I disagree with him about the word spiritual. I think it can mean a million different things. Da 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 da. But yeah. Yeah. So what happened was I read this article and he linked to a couple other articles that got me really, really interested in a bunch of stuff. This is, man, I don't have my water. Also, you guys, look at this tragedy. Do you see it? Right there. I lost a nail. Come on, autofocus. There it is. I lost a nail, you guys. Oh my goddess. The worst thing in the whole world. I know, no. But I reached out to my nail girl and she's going to squeeze me in and fix it this afternoon. Wait, sound on mic is off? How does that happen? Looks gross? Wait, is it really off? No, it's good. Lucas says it's good. Never mind. Okay. Thank you, Vincha. See how I did that? I know, it is a tragedy. I know. It's okay. She's going to squeeze me in this afternoon. She says, come in. It'll be really fast. She's just going to redo it really fast. And the only reason I was like, okay, I need to fix this week before I get them redone next week is because whenever it doesn't have the cover on it, see how like thin it is compared to my other nails? It's vulnerable to getting broken, you know? Look how long it is though. Like these are my natural nail length and it's always like so shocking when I see how long they actually are. Do I still have it, Lucas? That's crazy because I literally have it right here. Oh my God. That's crazy. That's so fucking funny. Yeah, I really do. I've been playing with it this whole time. It's like in my lap and I'm just like, and my nail used to be right here. Used to be right there. Do they have a drive-through? That's hilarious. They are long, I know. So one of the reasons I started getting my nails done, is because I used to pick at them a lot. And I used to bite my nails or whatever. Ever since I started investing in them and, letting them grow their natural length and all of that, I don't mess with them anymore. Cause I'm like, I am investing in this. This costs money. I'm not gonna, pick at them and waste my money or whatever. You know how this happened actually? My brother and I have an apartment together and he has a keyboard, like a piano keyboard, and he doesn't use it and it was just sitting in our living room and I kind of wanted to play around with it. And so I was like, hey, can I move this into my room and pick up playing the piano again? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. And he, being so sweet and kind, was like, he was like, do you need help moving it in? Because it is a fucking keyboard. It is a piano. He was like, he offered to help me move it in. And me, as you guys know, having a hard time asking for help and delegating and all of the things, I was like, nah, I got it. I can do this. So I move it in and so I start moving it into my room, and the stand is not connected to the keyboard itself. So when I set the keyboard down on the stand, I smashed this finger between the heavy ass keyboard and the stand. So I broke my nail because I was trying to do everything myself. So if that's not a lesson and learning how to ask for help, I don't know what is. So there's that. Would love for him to come say hi if he's game to. He's a bit camera shy. He's not on social media. He likes his anonymity. Shadow is much more interested in being on camera. He is over there asleep on my bed, on my pillow. That's fucking great. That's great. That's on me for not covering up the pillow. So yeah, that's what's going on. I'm gonna have someday my brother might join. I thought it would be really cool if he agrees to it, which I think I can get him to. We'll see if he agrees. But I think it'd be really cool if he agreed to be my first guest on my podcast. Whenever if I do ever do a guest on the Kayse Melone show. My God, you guys, in 45 minutes, this was we got like 30 subscribers. That's crazy. But the last episode, crazy enough. Oh no, that's not what I meant. We don't need to watch that. The last episode, this one, look how many views that has. 37K. That's crazy. That's my most viewed video. Woo! Which is fun. And I have a really exciting episode planned for tomorrow. Someone asked me to talk more about my personal journey escaping Christian conservative indoctrination. I've been getting more requests about that. And one of my first episodes, this for the longest time was my most viewed video on YouTube. Why I left Christianity. I talk a little bit about my story here, but I think I'm gonna talk about it again tomorrow, in more depth and in more detail because people have been asking about it. So we'll see. We'll talk about that another time though. Anyway, I loved this article, you guys. If you want a labor-focused, progressive, awesome writer to stay in touch with to get their newsletter, I recommend Hamilton Nolan. Oh, so from this, Brian gifting a membership now. You guys, that's so kind. For the record, I don't drink and won't take personal attacks like that. Is someone personally attacking you? Don't go after my mods. Don't make me pick a side there. None of that. Kayse has been invited to the red carpet. Someday. I was an evangelical, Twitch chatter. I sure was. Matt cheering with some bits. You guys. Also, I saw that we are now at 12 subscribers on Twitch. Oh my God. You guys are so supportive. Oh, Matt gifted a community. Matt gifted a subscription. Okay, Twitch coming in strong in the YouTube and Twitch race, in the YouTube and Twitch competition. Twitch is hanging in there. Interesting. Yes, please do hit up the YouTube page, Twitch chatter. I love both Twitch and YouTube for different reasons. I love the format of Twitch. I love the community on Twitch and the audience on Twitch. But my YouTube community is going strong, and it very much is resonating more a little bit there. I think it's just a little bit easier to grow on YouTube whenever you're talking about something that people fucking care about. So yeah. That's fun. Very cool, Twitch. Very cool. Thank you, Twitch. That's crazy. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, hang out in the Discord, the Kayse and Friends Discord. We're working really hard to build that community together. Oh man. Free Palestine. Yes. Yeah, this was another one. I really do. This one right here, is Christianity fueling a genocide? I really do. Like, if there was one, like, takeaway that people got from my work, it is how evangelical Christianity is fueling a genocide. Like, that is, at the end of the day, the most harmful result of this belief system that I try to talk about and that I try to shed light on. And so, and here we are, trying to talk about it, trying to do the damn thing. Is it a different Matt on Twitch? Oh my gosh, yeah. This is why I need, yeah, it is a different Matt on Twitch. Yeah. Matt, the Matt on Twitch, I think it's the Matt on Twitch. I believe I have connected with him digitally for a while now, before I even started growing. If it's the Matt I'm thinking of. Yes, hello Twitch, hello. Love. The God of the Bible is genocidal. Yeah, well, we've been saying, keep up the good work. Thank you. I am. What was I talking about? Oh, right. Okay. So this article, he talked about the measurable decline of organized religion in the modern world. And that is what I've really been interested in. So he linked to this article, Religion's Sudden Decline, Why It's Happening, and What Comes Next. I thought this was really interesting. From 2007 to 2020, an overwhelming majority of these same countries, speaking of an analysis of religious trends in 49 countries, containing 60% of the world's population. From 2007 to 2020, an overwhelming majority of these same countries became less religious. The most dramatic shift away from religion took place among the American public. And there is a point somewhere here. Oh no, that's in the next article. Excuse me. Several forces are, can you guys see this okay? I guess not. Here, let's try this. Oop. There, that's better. Several forces are driving this trend, but the most powerful one is the waning grip of a set of beliefs closely linked with the imperative of maintaining high birth rates. And that is a factor that I have known intuitively, and I have read about it a little bit before in the past, but it certainly is something that I want to talk about more in the future. Many people have asked me to talk about gender in relation to religion and authoritarianism, but I just haven't gotten around to it. It's just like, it's one of those weird situations where I have so much personal experience with gender and religion, like considering the gender question was one of my biggest drivers away from the Christian church. And for whatever reason, it just like seems so like it's almost like not as interesting to me in some ways, because I'm like, yeah, obviously I've been dealing with this my whole fucking life. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so for whatever reason, I forget how interesting it is to me. And I forget this facet of maintaining high birth rates, which for the longest time was honestly kind of important, I think, for the human race, like, and maintaining the growth, the rate of reproduction for the sake of evolving. Of course, now we're at a point where we have 8 billion fucking people on this planet, and we have enough natural resources for everyone if they were divided equally and ethically. However, like at this rate of population growth, obviously, like at a certain point, there will be too many people to feed. And a lot of people might say, oh, now there is there's already too many people to feed, but that's not true. We have, I have seen studies where we have enough natural resources to keep everyone fed and sheltered. We just aren't fucking doing it. We just are not fucking doing it. So, yeah, for many centuries, most societies assigned women the role of producing as many children as possible and discouraged divorce, abortion, homosexuality, contraception, and any other sexual behavior not linked with reproduction. Because what do I always say? You cannot talk about religion without talking about sex. I have always said that. This is one of the biggest reasons. This is so fucking real, all right? There are so many reasons that you can't talk about religion without talking about sex. One, And the point that I usually make is our sexuality is our highest expression of our authentic selves. Like, how we derive the most pleasure speaks to our personal individuality and who we are on a very fundamental level. Our sexuality is the highest expression of our pleasure. And if you can control that, you can control someone's voting patterns. You can control how someone spends their money. Do you understand? Controlling the sexuality of people is a very, very strategic move on behalf of the major religions in this world. And this is another reason to maintain high birth rates, because the more people you have under the umbrella of your religion, the more economic prosperity you can enjoy as a religious leader or as a political leader. And it is so intertwined here. It's so sick. It's so gross, but it's for real. A growing number of countries have now attained high life expectancies and drastically reduced infant mortality rates, making these traditional cultural norms no longer necessary. No longer necessary. Let's say it for the people in the back. No longer necessary. The major world religions had presented pro-fertility norms as absolute moral rules and firmly resisted change. People only slowly gave up the familiar beliefs and societal roles they have known since childhood concerning gender and sexual behavior. But when a society reaches a sufficiently high level of economic and physical security, younger generations grow up taking that security for granted, and the norms around fertility recede. But that's not it. Several other factors help explain the waning of religion. In the United States, politics explains part of this decline. Since the 1990s, the Republican Party has sought to win support by adopting conservative Christian positions on same-sex marriage, abortion, and other cultural issues. But this appeal to religious voters has had the corollary effect of pushing other voters, especially young liberal ones, away from religion. The uncritical embrace of President Donald Trump by conservative evangelical leaders has accelerated this trend, and the Roman Catholic Church has lost adherents because of its own crisis. A 2020 Pew Research Center, the survey we talk about all the time, found that an overwhelming majority of U.S. adults were aware of recent reports of sexual abuse by Catholic priests, and most of them believed that the abuses were ongoing problems that are still happening. Accordingly, many U.S. Catholics said that they have scaled back attendance at Mass in response to these reports, you guys. And I think that one thing that I wanted to say here is how, like this sentence again, this appeal to religious voters has had the corollary effect of pushing other voters, especially young liberal ones, away from religion. I think it's important to note for a second that when I talk about evangelical Christianity driving the politics in this country, it's important to note that not only is evangelical Christianity not the majority of beliefs of everyone in this country, it's also not the majority of Christians. I don't think so. I know we've looked at that before, but evangelical Christianity is conservative evangelical Christianity, even more specifically, is not the majority, as in the most number of people adhere to that ideology. It is the dominant ideology because it is the ideology that has the most financial backing and political power behind it. So I think that's really important to make that distinction. And also there's also the distinction between the white evangelical Christian church in America and the black evangelical Christian church in America. Because as much as I will, openly critique Christianity as a whole, I don't think Christianity is bringing more good than harm on the whole overall. The Black American Christian church has a lot of different rhetoric than the evangelical Christian church that I was raised in. It's a lot more justice focused. It's a lot more liberation focused. And I read an article recently, another one on Substack, a really good writer on Substack. I'm going to try and find it. About how, let's see if I can find this. No. Moonflower Child Substack. Damn. Now I forgot it, of course. But I read this article about the Black American Evangelical Christian Church and how... Oh, is it undersaved? Come on, Kayse. Tell me you saved that article. There it is, Moonflower Seed. About decolonizing the Black church. This writer, Justin here, they had another article that first introduced me to their work that was really good. And I think, it was this one. No white leftist. We aren't closer to class consciousness. That was the first article of theirs that I read. But this is a really interesting read as well. Another Substack writer that I would recommend. And this is about, it's been a minute since I've read this, but essentially the recognition that Christianity for the Black American community is a result of the African slave trade, the result of colonization and imperialism and all of these terrible power structures and systems of exploitation. Like, the Black American Christian Church is a result of violence done to the Black Americans. And so this writer does a really good job trying to navigate that and coming to terms with Christianity is intrinsically linked to the African American past, present, and future. A whopping 75% of African American adults identify as Christian. And I mean, not even just there's a really interesting point, I think, in the recognition that the white evangelical Christian church will use the Black Christian church when it suits the white evangelical Christian church and saying, look at all of these other Christians. They know that Christianity is the one true religion. They understand that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. The white evangelical Christian church will use Black Christianity when it suits them. And then whenever it comes to, whenever it came to the emancipation of the slaves, whenever it comes to the Black Lives Matter movement, whenever it comes to actually justice-focused initiatives in the Christian church that the Black evangelical Christian church will push forward, the white evangelical Christian church will not. It will all of a sudden go quiet and say, you're not our brothers and sisters in Christ on this matter. And I think that's a really important distinction to remember, even as much as Christianity is part of the colonization of, really all people with a darker skin tone, right? Christianity has been used as an arm of imperialism across the world, and it still is through mission work, right? Like, that is, as much as that is true, I do try to make this distinction here about how whenever I talk about the harms of the evangelical Christian church, in large part, not exclusively, in large part, I'm specifically referring to the white evangelical Christian church. So I did want to make that distinction. I'm so sorry. People have been commenting, like, stop touching your hair on my YouTube videos. I'm still training my bangs. Okay, I'm sorry. But if I don't do this now, I'll just keep, it'll just bother me. And then it gets in my eyes. It's a whole thing. So yeah, I did want to make that point about the differences between the white and the Black evangelical Christian church. All of that to say though, as a whole, people are leaving Christianity more than ever, especially here in the United States. So this has been really interesting. Babe, stop. Leave me alone. Okay. As societies develop from agrarian to industrial to knowledge-based, growing existential security tends to reduce the importance of religion in people's lives, and people become less obedient to traditional religious leaders and institutions. Another thing we talk about a lot, you do what you want with that beautiful hair. Thank you. Another thing we talk about a lot here on this channel is how atheism and being non-religious is a privilege, because when you have the space and time to ask these bigger questions about whether or not you actually believe in a God, what you actually value, or what has been fed to you through from the pulpit, like the more you are able to ask those questions without worrying about your survival, the more you come to terms with the fact that religious institutions are man-made and mandated for very specific human agendas. Oh my goddess. These are driving me nuts. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm fine. So this is a really good point as well in this article, and that trend seems likely to continue. This article was written in 2020. So pandemics such as the current one reduce people's sense of existential security. If the pandemic were to endure for decades or lead to an enduring Great Depression, the theory underlying this article implies that the cultural changes of recent decades would reverse themselves, which is what we're seeing with young men going, doubling down on religious beliefs and going back to church more and more. We are kind of seeing this already just in the 5 years since this article was written, even though on the whole, people are leaving religion more and more. With this, so the other day when we were doing the live stream about how I was doing a live stream trying to cover all of the different, or as many of the atheist content creators on YouTube as I could. This one right here, I talked about my favorite atheist content creators. We covered a lot. It was not comprehensive by any sense of the matter, but it was, as the title says, it was a very brief guide to atheist content creators. Do you think Jesus is petty when there are starving children, if there is indeed a Jesus? I mean, there was maybe a Jesus. Oh, you're not talking to me. Sorry, chatter. Are you talking to me? I can't tell. Oh my gosh. Stop. Male Rights USA, you crack me up sometimes. I'm not Christian, but I think you may be. I don't know if you guys are talking to me. I can't tell. Oh my gosh. Good morning, everyone. We're doing great, aren't we? Anyway, when I was making this brief guide to atheist content creators on YouTube, I forgot to mention one of my favorites, and that's because I usually consume this creator's content via, again, his Substack newsletter, and that would be The Friendly Atheist. I forgot to mention The Friendly Atheist. That is on me. But The Friendly Atheist, Hemant Mehta, does a lot of activist work in relation to the separation of church and state. And I read his newsletters. I think he publishes every single day. It's so funny, Lucas. I keep looking at my nail and playing with it. I can't stop. It's so funny. I need to just throw it away. But at first I was like, maybe I can super glue it, but then the rest broke off. It was a whole thing. Okay. Yeah. So this video was published a month ago on behalf of The Friendly Atheist. And also kind of talking about, I think he does talk about the religious landscape survey. So I thought we could talk about it a little bit together and kind of give myself a break from ranting for an entire hour straight. My God, has it already been an hour and you guys just sit here? Oh yeah, Hemant Mehta was on Jeopardy. I did learn that recently. I'll just say Hemant Mehta does great work and the newsletter is important. What does /out mean? What does /out mean? I just recently learned that /S means sarcasm via digital communication. What does /out mean? I don't actually know what that means. I'm so out of the loop. I'm so old. That's funny. The Friendly Atheist. Oops, sorry. What did you say? The Friendly Atheist is one of my favorites. Yes. The Friendly Atheist is great. Very good work. So I thought we could watch this together, react to a little bit of it, give myself a break from talking for an hour straight, and then we can go from there. I have one more article. I just mean I'm not going to say, I'm out, I got you, on a walkie-talkie, and out. Gotcha. I am sub to The Friendly Atheist. Yeah, Friendly Atheist is awesome. Let's watch this. Again, this was a month ago, but it's still, I think, super relevant to what we're talking about today. This video is called The Global Religious Exodus why people are switching and ditching faith. Let's get into it. Let me know if the audio is terrible. Sometimes it's like too loud, not loud enough. I'm going to keep it kind of halfway here, but tell me if it needs to go louder. All right.
I wanted to talk once more about that Pew Research Center survey that just came out earlier this month. This massive survey where they interviewed like tens of thousands of people.
No audio? Cool. Off to a great fucking start. There's no audio. Great. Okay, let me try again.
Talk once more about that Pew Research Center survey that just came out earlier this month. This massive survey where they interviewed like tens of thousands of people about religion in America. One of my favorite charts that they showed in that survey when they released like the 300-page analysis of it all had to do with religious switching. And what is religious switching? It's when they ask you like, what religion were you raised in and what religion are you now? And there's a lot of Americans who said, I used to believe this thing when I was younger. I was raised in this religion by my family, but I'm now something else. It's been happening a lot in recent years, and it threatens to upend one of the most basic and important beliefs about religion, which is that if you raise your children in your religion, your children will be that religion in the future. And I want you to think about that.
Joke's on them. Jokes on all of the youth pastors and the coaches and the teachers and everyone who wanted me to be this star, graduating top of my class in high school, valedictorian, crusader for Christ, who wanted me to be a great pastor's wife and do my duty and propagate the Christian congregation through being subservient to my husband. Joke's on them. Guess what? I'm still super interested in religion. Guess what? I still am very much an extremist in relation to these conversations, but I am not the religious girl you wanted me to be. I'll tell you that right the fuck now.
For a second, because this is such a big deal. One of the reasons organized religion has had historically as much power as it does is because parents could always assume that if they indoctrinated their kids from a young age, conservative Christians even have a name for this, the 4 to 14 window. You can Wikipedia that one right now. They say, if I can indoctrinate you between the ages of 4 to 14, I have you for life. So they know it's important. And they think if I get to my kids early and I take them to church from a young age and I read them the Bible stories from a young age, they will be Christians for life. You may recall there's a thing called the quiverful movement in conservative Christianity. It's like the Duggar family with their 16 kids and counting, right? And their whole thing is, why do they have so many damn children? Because they really do believe if you have a lot of children, those are more weapons to use in the eternal religious war. And there was a journalist, Catherine Joyce, who wrote about the quiverful movement years ago, 2 decades ago. And I want to show you what she wrote about that movement. This is talking about the Duggar family and other families like them. This is their mindset that she is describing. If just 8 million American Christian couples begin supplying more arrows for the war by having 6 children or more, they propose, the Christian right ranks could rise to 550 million within a century, assuming Christ does not return before then. They like to ponder the spiritual victory that such numbers could bring. Both houses of Congress and the majority filled by Christians, universities that embrace creationism, sinful cities reclaimed for the faithful, and the swift blows dealt to companies that offend Christian sensibilities. First of all, a lot of that shit's already happening, so we don't have to think about if that will happen. But all of this, the reason some of these families like to have so many kids, it's built on the assumption that if Christian parents have a ton of babies, all those babies are going to be Christian when they grow up. And what we learn about religious switching is that that's not how it works. That having...
I wager this is another major motivator to abolish abortion. Yes, I agree. I think that, so in the Bad Faith documentary that I watched this week and we talked about earlier this week on the stream, on the broadcast, really opened my eyes to something that I did not realize. I knew that the abortion conversation was used as a way to mobilize Christians in the sense that it framed the moral imperative of standing up for unborn babies for the sake of life, to protect children from murder. I knew that the abortion conversation was used to mobilize people. I did not realize that, and the Bad Faith documentary pointed this out and made the connection to how the abortion conversation is used to mobilize Christians as a result of the original movements of Christian nationalism and the leaders of that movement and their desire to uphold racial segregation and racial supremacy and white supremacy. So I think I think there are still narratives around that, right? I think there are still white supremacist ties for sure, but I think it has also morphed into its own thing about protecting also for a low-wage labor force. Correct. Yeah, exactly. I think the abortion movement, the anti-abortion movement has coalesced into a lot of these other kinds of motivations, including keeping the Christian congregation growing, including a low-wage labor force, and including a way to mobilize the Christian congregation in order to maintain power and influence, etc. So I think that's a good point.
More arrows, quote unquote, is not enough. And why does that happen? You know why that happens. People make friends outside their religious bubble. It happens when they go to grade school. It happens when they go to college. And
it happens because of the internet. I talk about this a lot too. I think in large part, as much as our algorithms are explicitly designed to keep us in echo chambers, to keep us getting the information that constantly feeds the same things over and over again, I think that making friends online, or not even just making friends, being exposed to different cultural systems, to different belief systems, has done a world of wonder to help the younger generations understand that religion is tied to where you are born, that growing up in a certain religion is tied to where you are born. And for all of the issues that come with the internet, you know, really it's just a catalyst for human nature itself, which has both good and bad. So all of this good has been done, all of this bad has been done on behalf of the internet. But one of the good things is the digital global connectivity that has allowed people who otherwise would have been in these bubbles, in the secluded bubble that I grew up in, right? I didn't get Facebook until I was like 16. I didn't have, for better or worse, but we didn't have as much information as there is now, as much of online activism as there is now, way back when, right? And so there's a lot of people, even in like leftist communities, a lot of people in activist communities who make the valid point that liking and sharing activism is not quite the same as on the ground protesting, and not the same as in community-based organizing and mutual aid and all, unionizing and all of these things, which are very much important. But I like to make the point of how the internet is what allowed me to, in large part, to deconstruct a lot of my hierarchical narratives, my colonialism, the internet being a source of activism should not ever be downplayed, because it is allowing people, especially young people who are more chronically online, again, for better or worse, I'm not debating that. I'm just saying they're more online than the older generations, and they are being exposed to other cultures. And I don't think that should be downplayed. It needs to go hand in hand. It needs to go hand in hand with on the ground activism, with community-based organizing, etc. I always like to say that spreading awareness and having these conversations like we're doing, first of all, this is just for me personally, this is the lane of my training, right? I did stand-up for 7 years. I've been in marketing for 8 years. I know how to create content and to talk to people and to build a platform, because that's what I've been doing. This just is my skill set. So I think everyone's form of resistance to like authoritarianism and the rise of the religious right, it looks like a million different things. Some of you guys proving that to me by managing my community when I'm not as skilled. I don't know Discord as well. Or, you know, at some point I'm going to have to hire editors for video. You know what I mean? Like everyone has a different role to play. Based on their passion, based on their expertise, whatever. So I always like to say that what we're doing here, all of us showing up at this live stream and having these conversations, and you guys challenging me with different perspectives and giving me materials that I need to cover, and all of this stuff, it very much like, I always say that like having the conversations and awareness kind of activism, spreading the message, talking about that, lights the flame, like lights the torch, and the on the ground community based actual organizing and protesting carries the torch, right? So one lights the flame, one carries the torch. So that's what I always say. They need to go hand in hand. Oh, thank you for the super chat. I grew up a small town Catholic and was fed a lot of bullshit. I changed my mind on abortion, racism, etc. just by meeting and talking to new people. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not downplaying what Hemant Mehta is saying. Like, obviously, there are plenty of ways to, as you did, well done. We commend you for opening up your worldview and expanding your awareness of the multiplicity of the human experience. We love that. I was just saying, like, I don't like it when people downplay the internet's role in a lot of this. Certainly not talking about you, Chatter, but I think the internet is just a really good tool for a lot of this stuff, as evident by us hanging out here and talking about these important things today. Hello, welcome to the stream. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Hello and welcome. Just, you know me, talking about super chill stuff. We were talking about people leaving religion, why religion is not upholding what it has promised for people, etc., etc. Yeah, that's why TikTok is so evil to them, LMAO. TikTok gets hate TikTok gets so much hate and it pisses me off. First of all, like if you look at Twitch, if you look at YouTube, if you look at probably Facebook, I'm not certain about that, but I am certain about YouTube and Twitch, the larger demographic based on gender are men. More men are on Twitch, more men are on YouTube. TikTok gets a lot of flack from YouTube and Twitch because I think in large part, they're not like they actively know this when they give it hate, but TikTok is one of the platforms that is predominantly women users. It's 60% women, a base of women. And so I hate it when people give TikTok shit for being super, frivolous or just silly dance videos. Like, that is where I learned about Palestine. That is where I learned about very important things because it's where the girls hang out and it's where we talk about serious stuff. Like, I don't know, dismantling patriarchy. I'm so sorry. I'm so fucking sorry. But TikTok is legit. TikTok has a wealth of information. It did a really good job of giving you, at first they were just 1 minute long videos and it was like, hey, here is 1 minute. Here is 1 minute of really important information that you need to know about Donald Trump or that you need to know about women's rights or whatever, etc. So I love TikTok and TikTok is a great way to expand your worldview and understand the multiplicity of the human experience and all of that. So I stand by TikTok. I love TikTok. So there's that. Oh, my good absolute goddess. My good absolute goddess. It's not fair how much people shit on TikTok. I know. I'm not talking about anyone here in the community necessarily, but I have seen other atheists talk shit about TikTok and I'm like, why? It's doing the Lord's work. I'm being sarcastic, but you know what I mean? Like, it's doing the real work. I love TikTok. I stand by it. Everyone, let's go hang out on TikTok. Whatever. All right, let's keep watching this video.
Date or marry people who don't share their religious beliefs from when they grew up, because they share values, but they may not share religious beliefs. They might live in big cities or diverse communities where there is no
Thank you for the super chat.
one default faith, so it makes the spread of different ideas a lot easier. You're not pressured to join the one religion everyone has, otherwise you're an outcast. No, there's different places and people for you to hang out with. There's also less stigma today in saying you are not religious or not Christian, so that the pressure to remain in the fold has also evaporated. And all of that's good. And the thing I wanted to show you, that I did show you a couple of weeks ago, is what the Pew Research Center found about religious switching. And I want to show that to you for just a second. This is an amazing chart. And look at this. This is the ratio of people who leave a religious group versus people who join.
YouTube chatter. Kayse is speaking falsely. Okay. More and more worldwide are coming to the one true faith, believing on Jesus Christ, our creator, savior, God. First of all, hello, you're welcome here. That's fine if that's what you believe. I'm trusting you not to evangelize and tell other people to join your faith. Second of all, this is look right here. See this? See these numbers? How people are leaving Christianity? See that right there? How this is a over thousands of people, a survey that has been done multiple times and by a reputable research center, and how it says literally what I'm talking about, which is that more people are leaving Christianity. Do you see these numbers right here? If that's me speaking falsely, I don't know what to tell you. Look, I get it. I struggle with the idea of objective truth, just like the next deconstructed Bible belter who has a hard time believing that anything could ever be an absolute truth again. I get it, babe. But honey bunches of oats, you've got to ask yourself, I'm begging you to ask yourself, do you actually think more and more people are becoming Christian? Do you actually think that because maybe a pastor told you, maybe a Christian organization told you that, can we maybe question why they're saying that? Why they're saying more and more people are becoming Christian? Is it maybe to... let me just, at the very least, ask you this, and then I'll leave you alone, because I don't want to push you away from the community, but I am going to ask you this. Wherever you heard, whoever told you that more and more people are becoming Christian, whoever told you that, were they also hand in hand asking you for money? That's all I want to know. That's all I am asking. Were they trying to sell you anything? Were they trying to get you to follow them? Were they trying to get you to join a membership or join a church or stay in the church that you're at or stay in the faith-based community that you're at? Maybe consider that. Maybe consider that. That's all. I don't know what to tell you. Thank you for the super chat. I hope you keep sharing your knowledge. I mean, we're here for it. We're doing it. Cope. That's one of my favorite internet things that have been going around. Cope. All right, everyone be nice to the Christian, but I handled them. That it's up to them. It is now their responsibility to consider who was actually falsely telling them. The eternal joke is on all who are willfully blinded by Satan for rejecting Jesus Christ the Lord. Kayse's filthy mouth broadcasts her darkened heart. Hold on, I'm getting a screenshot of that. Don't delete it or anything. Hold on. Oh shit. Did I just fuck up my whole stream? Hold on. Are you guys still here? Okay. That's fucking hilarious. Oh my god. Kayse's filthy mouth broadcasts her darkened heart. You bet your fucking bippers. You are absolutely correct. My filthy mouth broadcasts my darkened heart. Honey bunches of oats. I am not trying to be mean. I know I'm laughing. That was really fucking funny. I'm not laughing at you. I really, like, at the end of the day, babe, I have a lot of sympathy for you. I have been in your shoes. My heart hurts for you. And how you have to navigate a world that is full of suffering and a world that doesn't make sense and a world that is uncertain. I understand that you are doing Your best. That's hilarious. None of that stuff that you said bother me. I'm telling you right now, if you direct that ever at anyone else in the chat, you will be banned. Moderators, just in general, I don't mind it when people say shit about me, but that, like, because it's funny to react to, and I don't mind being challenged at all. If it's ever directed at anyone else in the chat, that's when I take issue. Kayse's Filthy Mouth is going to be the name of a song on my next album. That's so fucking funny. My God. Kayse's Filthy Mouth is broadcasting her darkened heart. You bet your ass. Correct. It is. Oh my God. I need to play this video because I'll never stop. That was one of my favorites. Okay. Okay. All right.
And look what it says about Christianity at the very top here. Look at the blue. For every one person who joins Christianity, 6 people leave it. What about Catholicism specifically? For every one person who becomes a Catholic and joins Catholicism, 8.4 people leave Catholicism. And on the flip side, for every one person who leaves religiously unaffiliated, like you're an atheist who found God, for every one of those people, 5.9 people join religiously unaffiliated.
We love to see it.
So you can see a couple things happening here. One is there's a huge discrepancy. For every one person who joins Christianity, 6 people leave. Well, guess what? For every one person who leaves religiously unaffiliated, about 6 people join. We're stealing all of those Christians. It's not a one-to-one perfect scenario there, but a lot of those people leaving Christianity, they're not ditching it to find a new religion. They're ditching organized religion entirely. And this is what religious switching is, because they asked all these people, what religion were you raised in? And a whole bunch of them said Christianity, some version of Christianity. You know, I was a Methodist growing up. I was a Baptist growing up. I was Catholic growing up. And then they said, and what are you now? Nothing. That is what happened in the survey. That's what's amazing about this chart. This destroys everything the quiverful movement has ever wanted.
Oh, you guys can't even see him.
This chart is the Duggar family's worst nightmare, other than Josh Duggar. So this is why I love this chart. It was
I want to mention, like, so right there in the chart, we've looked at this survey on this stream before as well. I just wanted to point out, can you guys see me? So much going on. Okay. For every 6 people who left Christianity and then 1 person joined, my understanding, and this is, I did not ever see like a correlation with this chart and the other charts we looked at, where we look at how young men, how Gen Z men are joining the church more than they were before. That's what I see as that 1 person who joins. And we've talked about that extensively here on this channel, on these live streams, and there are many reasons for that. One of them being identity politics. I read another really awesome article on Substack the other day about identity politics. Let's see if I can find it, because it was really good. About identity politics and how it really is like holding us back. No. Okay, now I can't find it. Okay, whatever. But identity politics, I think, are like as much as I understand the left's need to recognize hierarchical narratives that do benefit certain demographics of people over others, I do think that we and I've been guilty of this as well, villainizing actual everyday like straight white men is really what I'm talking about, ends up pushing them away because they don't want to be part of a community where they feel like they're a villain when they don't understand that we're specifically critiquing heteronormative white supremacist patriarchy. Does that make sense? Like, obviously that's what we're critiquing, and we just don't want straight white men to have more privilege than everyone else. Like, that's it. It's not about disempowering them. It's about empowering everyone else. And as much as we can understand and be aware of that, whenever we use identity politics in such a way to where the messaging, the things that we're saying sounds like we're constantly hating on straight white men, it pushes them away in large part. And the community that is most propping up young men, young white men, are Christian circles, are Christian communities. So I think there are a lot of reasons for that. And again, I know this specific chart isn't saying that. You haven't left religion. You still let Christianity define your beliefs as a simple-minded contrarian. Yeah, Chatter, you love commenting on my videos about how I'm too radical, or I recognize that there can be conservative atheists. Like, Ayn Rand helped me leave religion. Like, I fucking know. You certainly, you love commenting on my stuff, so I'm going to let you keep going, but whatever. Kayse, a simple question. Would you prefer an Islamic state in the States or the Christianized states to live in? There is no other options. I am so glad you asked me that question, because my answer is I refuse to answer that question. Because the reason that question is always posed in Western society, in the United States, is to villainize Islam. It is specifically built into Islamophobia. You know what? I'm not even going to use that word, because I know that's triggering for a lot of people. The idea of Christianity being quote unquote better than Islam is built on premises that I fundamentally disagree with. First of all, that Western civilization should be... I'm going to give y'all my full fucking attention for this. The idea that Western society is somehow better morally than any other iteration of civilization on this planet is fundamentally false. I do not adhere to it. Why? Because Western society is built on exploitation and the subjugation of entire peoples. And I'm trying to explain this in a way that doesn't use words that will trigger someone who I'm trying to use words that won't trigger someone. But the entirety of Western civilization is predicated on prospering and progressing based on the backs of other people, on the exploitation of indigenous peoples throughout the world, starting here in this country, in the United States, right? The indigenous people of this country. And then that wasn't enough. So they had to go overseas and bring people over here to subjugate them there through chattel slavery, through the African slave trade, right? So this idea of Western society somehow being the moral standard for the rest of the world is bullshit. That is already false. Second of all, a lot of the ways that Western society progressed and moved forward in human evolution had nothing to do with religion at all. In fact, it was the exact opposite. If you're not talking about morality, which, as I've just talked about, should not be propped up as better than the rest because it relied on immoral practices, right? If we're moving the concept of morality aside, the progress that a lot of people love to correlate with Western society, with the United States, with Europe, whatever, technologically speaking, I'm talking about the technology, the scientific advancements, have nothing to do with religion, have nothing to do with Christianity. In fact, it was the separation from Christianity through the Enlightenment and the rational scientific revolution. It was through the moving away from Christianity that we were able to get all of this technology, that we were able to have the scientific revolution, which brought about all of the industrial advances. So even on that front, the propping up of Western civilization still has nothing to do with Christianity. And it is not because we are Christianized or what the fuck ever you want to say. And so then we get to this question: would I prefer an Islamic state in the States or the Christianized states to live in? You then say there is no other option. False. There is another option, and this community is a testament to that. This community is proof of that. Okay? There is another option because we don't need religion. We don't need religion. Are you kidding me? We don't need religion. First of all, we don't need religion for morality or scientific advancement or the furthering of human society or to continue evolution or to bring about peace and justice for all. Fuck that. Not in this house. Religion is not necessary for that. Religion is not necessary for that. So I'm not going to answer that question. I'm not going to answer whether or not I would rather live in an Islamic or a Christian country, because I don't think we need religion in the first place. And also, that question here in the United States is a setup so that I then say, well, obviously Christian, so that then you can paint Islam as this entity, and it's probably going to get into saying things like all Muslims this or all Arabs that, which is built into a white supremacist narrative that, again, Western civilization, what you're probably calling Christianized states, profit from, built into the exploitation of people of color around this world. Great question. I'm not answering it. Great question. I'm not going to fucking answer it. Anyway, oh, sorry, I missed some super chats. I was busy. I heard nothing wrong. Thank you. I'm not saying anything wrong. Or what did that person say? I already forgot. Kayse's falsely... Hold on. I have the screenshot. Kayse is... The eternal joke is on all who are willfully blinded by Satan for rejecting Jesus Christ the Lord. Kayse's filthy mouth broadcasts her darkened heart. That's me trying to stand up for what's right. My darkened heart. My filthy mouth. So fucking funny. My God. It's so funny. It's so funny. So yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that great question. I think I might literally be insane. It's fine. It's fine.
Amazing. It is amazing to see these numbers put like this, because it shows people are able to switch religions, right? It's amazing. Now, why is that happening? You could blame whatever you want. Blame the sex scandals, the hypocrisy, the desperate attempts to worship Donald Trump instead of Jesus, the easy access to material for people who are questioning their faith, whether it's books, YouTube videos, TikToks, whatever. There's more ways to learn about why it's okay to leave your religion. There's a bunch of reasons. But the point is, way more people are walking up, are growing up and walking away from organized religion than entering it. So there was one limitation to that chart, though. It was all about the United States. And there's an open question of, okay, maybe that's what's happening in the US, and maybe that's due to politics. Maybe that's due to issues that only matter to one country. What is happening in the rest of the world? Are these trends about religion the same in other parts of the world? And we didn't know that from that initial survey. And this week, the Pew Research Center released an update. They released more information based on their survey where they talked about religious switching around the world, right? To give us a better understanding of what's happening. And in short, what they found is that, yeah, people are switching and ditching religion all over the place. So they surveyed 80,000 people in 36 countries, and they found that the biggest losers when it came to this religious carousel are Christianity and Buddhism. In countries that are predominantly Christian, people are walking away from Christianity. In countries that are predominantly Buddhist, they're walking away from Buddhism. And in fact, while 28...
That's interesting. I'm honestly like so out of the loop when it comes to Buddhism. There are a lot of people, like even in my like YouTube comments, when I talk about being spiritual, not religious, or how I want to be some kind of like spiritual atheist that like appreciates the yearning and the mystery and the connectivity of the universe as we know it without believing in the supernatural, whatever. A lot of people bring up Buddhism to me, but I still like, it's still enough of an organized religion that I just can't like call myself an actual adherent, especially because it's still patriarchy is still baked into it. I don't know if this is still the case everywhere, but the foundation and the large majority, this is a guess, but I really think that the majority of Buddhist communities only allow men to be the monks, right? That's what I thought. I think Britt Hartley talks about that too. I don't know. But yeah, I'm not that familiar with Buddhism, so that's interesting that Hemet makes that point here.
8% of Americans now say they are a different religion than the one in which they grew up. and a lot of that 28% are Christians who have left Christianity, guess what's happening in other countries? Let me show you this. Again, America, 28% of people have switched religions, mostly leaving religion. But look at this right here. Here's the US at the very bottom. There's our 28%. There we go. Right above my head. US is at 28%. But look at what's happening at the top here. South Korea. 50% of people in South Korea have ditched their childhood religion. In Spain, 40% of people have ditched it. Canada, 38%. The UK, 36%. Look at all these European, Scandinavian, we got Australia in there. These countries have more religious switching and ditching going on than the United States. And those are countries that used to have a whole bunch of Christians. And now they are losing that. Which countries do not have a lot of religious switching? Like, what do these have in common? Let me scroll to the bottom of this chart. Look at this. Bangladesh, under 1% of people switch religions. Yeah, you know why? Because like 10 years ago, when some atheist bloggers criticized religion in Bangladesh, extremist Muslims murdered them. So yeah, there's pressure not to switch, at least not openly so, in certain countries where there's political, social pressure not to change, where there is such a majority of one particular religion that leaving it comes with severe penalties. Yeah, you're probably not going to switch your religion, at least not telling a surveyor about that. Even India, where there is Hindu extremism in India, but even there's so many people in the Hindu faith that it's really hard to switch religions. But the countries where there was predominantly Christianity and Buddhism, those are ones that are losing people. So that's interesting. And okay. Again,
Twitch chatter, I'm going to respond to you again. I'm not going to get into as much depth, but I see that you're trying to hold on to the narrative that you have been taught about what you're calling Protestant work ethic. So I'm going to touch on this, and I'm trying to be, trying to show up in good faith here. I'm trying to be real with you. You say, why do you think the countries fundamentally based on Protestant work ethic are all developed economically, morally, and lawfully? The rest just copied or followed suit after the modern day industrial revolution since the 1960s, because Protestant work ethic is what helped build basically every right, lawful, and moral thing in this world. Okay, so the reason I'm not going to get into as much depth is because I literally just explained to you that, first of all, let's do all three. That economic development that you're talking about, even the Industrial Revolution in this country, in the United States, was not possible without exploiting people. Exploiting people. Do you understand that concept? Do you know what exploitation means? It means people who are making decisions and who are reaping the benefits of someone else's labor, of someone else's work. So that's why before the Haymarket riots and before the labor movement really organized, people were working here in this country, in this supposedly moral and right country. We're just gonna do the United States. Okay, for a small microcosm of what we're talking about here. Before the labor movement really took off and we got the 40-hour work week and the 8-hour day, right? People were working 12-hour days, 6 days a week. That is exploitation. That is when these people are working for like $1 an hour. That's an exaggeration. $6 an hour, whatever the fuck it was. Okay. Meanwhile, they were working in these factories in order for their bosses to make thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, whatever it may be, whatever industry they were in. That is what exploitation means. And yes, you are correct in that it resulted in an economically developed country, which is to say that the ruling elites that I assume you're frustrated with, because everyone is frustrated with, no matter what political party they fall under, no matter what religion they fall under, everyone is pissed off at the aristocracy in this country, the people who have billions of dollars, who are still exploiting people on our level. You're in my level. Look, you and I are on the same fucking tier of society here, okay? Unless you somehow have $1 billion and you're hanging out in my fucking Twitch chat, I would be shocked, honored, but shocked. Like, you and I are the same, okay? So I'm not coming at you to fight you right now, but you've got to understand, when you say this country was developed economically, correct, it was developed economically on the basis of exploitation, on the basis of people working 12-hour fucking days, back-breaking labor, 6 days a week, so that other people can take their work and profit from it. That is what capitalism does. That is what Western society built itself on. And that's not even to talk about the ways outside of this country that exploitation was happening. We're just focusing on here. So you say that it developed economically here, and while that may be true, it did not. This is key, babe. It did not develop economically for everyone. It developed economically for the people in power. That's it. That's it. And I will recognize that on the whole, there are studies that show on the whole throughout the globe, okay, or let's just stick with the United States. On the whole in the United States, the people, the millions of people in this country are, like, for example, more literate than our ancestors even just 300 years ago, right? Like, there are some ways that society has progressed, but at the same time, if you don't include this other part of the conversation, you are being lied to, you are being manipulated, you don't understand the full story. At the same time, the wealth inequality gap, the gap between the richest and the poorer people, 300 years ago when people weren't as well read, that gap was like this. Now people might be able to read more. That gap is like this, babe. Do you understand that wealth inequality, the gap is rising? That gap is rising because it is still predicated on exploitation. Again, the profit of someone else's labor. That is what is happening. That is how we developed economically. I guess I am getting into it. Okay. So based on that concept, how can you say that with this Protestant work ethic, how can you say that that form of labor, that form of an economy, profiting off of the exploitation of profiting off of the backs of other people, how can you call that moral? How can you say that that is a more moral society? It breaks down, babe. It breaks down. And as far as lawfully goes, the third thing you said, that Protestant work ethic are all developed economically, morally, and lawfully. As far as lawfully goes, people create laws. And then, because laws have to evolve with us, people have to change the laws. You want to talk about morality again? Guess what used to be legal? Slavery of people, of human beings. That was lawful. Do you understand? Women not getting the right to vote, that was lawful. Babe, I'm not trying to call you stupid. I'm not trying to call you an idiot, because I grew up with that same messaging about Protestant work ethic being the foundation of everything right, lawful, and moral. I got the same messaging. I feel you, hun. I understand that it's hard to question that narrative that you've probably been told your entire life, but it is so sad when I see people, God, in the environment, oh my God, with the beliefs that I was raised in. Oh, babe. Honey bunches of oats. I don't know what to tell you. It's not the only thing that you were accurate about. Well, I guess you were accurate about lawfully too, but it's certainly not moral. The concept of Western society being the moral foundation that other people copied, like, God save us all if that's the fucking case, because I do not stand by the morality of this country, of Western society, of what the fuck ever you really think is that great. I absolutely not. I'm not available. Okay, let's get back to this video. I'm not disagreeing with anything you were saying, Hannah. I'm just calling that we evolved and changed so much and improved things for the better than any other sect. Okay, no. Okay. Okay, no, let's move on. I said I was done. I'm done.
I just want to point out what the Pew Research Center said. When most of those people switch religions, it's almost always in the direction of non-religion.
Sound? Oh my gosh, why does it keep doing that? Sorry, you guys. Oh, I didn't switch the scene.
Quoting here, most of the switching is disaffiliation. People leaving the religion of their childhood and no longer identifying with any religion. And so, okay, I want to go.
Thank you, Twitch chatter. Islamic medicine, science, and engineering is what got Europe out of its hole, and unfortunately, Europe used it to launch the last 600 years of colonialism. Yeah, sorry, good points. The thing that I want to challenge that Twitch chatter to understand is that the narrative of... I keep trying to watch this video, and I keep getting distracted. Okay. The thing I want to challenge you with is who is telling you that Protestant Christianity is what brought about all of the good things, right? So I just talked about all of the bad things that it brought about, you know, like the exploitation, the false narrative of the Western morality being somehow better than others, etc. I want to challenge you to ask yourself why someone was trying to convince you that Protestant Christianity is somehow better than everything else. Do you know what I mean? Like, I appreciate you saying you understand what I was talking about, but all of that good stuff that, that's really hard for me to say this. Christianity maybe brought about, you know, if we're not trying to throw out the baby with the bathwater, I need you to understand that happened throughout the world. That happened in other civilizations under other belief systems. All of the good things that you're saying is exclusive to Protestant Christianity is not exclusive to Protestant Christianity. Okay, progress and science and community and whatever things that you're thinking like, oh, it's thanks to religion that we have these wonderful things. It's thanks to Protestant Christianity that we have these wonderful things. It is thanks to humans that we have those wonderful things. Humans did it. And humans did it across the fucking world. They did it in the East. They did it in the South. What the issue I have with that, the issue I have with you propping up Protestant Christianity as if it was, no, babe, no. Protestant Christianity ruled and created laws and justice all around the world when everyone was barbaric and murdering and killing each other. Oh my goddess, 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 oh my goddess. It's like you're not listening to the words coming out of my fucking mouth. All right. Babe. That is just not true. You have been told that. You have been told that Protestant Christianity ruled and created laws and justice all around the world because that is how they keep building up this power structure that is still, babe, wake up, exploitation is happening. Babe, wake up, another iteration of capitalism just dropped. Do you understand? It is still happening around the world. And Protestant Christianity is not what created laws and justice around the world. Laws and justice and a sense of communal morality and a sense of responsibility and an awareness of climate change and science and mathematics, that all happened outside of Protestant Christianity just as much as within. Do you understand? I'm not negating all of the good things. So hard for me to say, but I'll admit it. All of the good things that came out of religion here in the United States, here in Western Christianity, here in Protestant Christianity, all of those things that you think are so great about Protestant Christianity, they happened elsewhere. I'm begging you to just consider the possibility that I'm right. I need you to just consider the possibility that it happened outside of Protestant Christianity, because it fucking did. It did. But Protestant Christianity has become so sinister that it has made you believe, not only has it made you believe that it is the only exclusive belief system to have had all of these great things come about, but second of all, Protestant Christianity then went around the world hand in hand with empire and was an imperialist, capitalist, colonialist regime that exploited all of these other societies and then claimed and then went in and set up its own form of, all of these fucking military bases around the world. And it set up its own missionary work and all of these things saying, hey, we're converting you to Christianity because obviously we're the best and you didn't have government until we came in and destroyed your government and built government. Do you understand? I'm begging you to consider the fact that Protestant Christianity did not rule and create laws and justice all around the world as if it wasn't already fucking there. And Protestant Christianity, hand in hand with empire, went around the world, destroyed communities, and then built a community and said, look at this community we gave you. Babe. That's it. That's it. Okay, I'm officially moving on. All right. No moral high ground detected. Oh my God. I'm inclined to feel Kayse is correct here. I haven't given these topics much thought, but figured I'd join this stream to learn a bit of others' perspectives. Wow, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Also, thank you for the Twitch subscription. I appreciate the support. I try very hard to talk about how, so for those of you who are new to this community, hello, also everyone on YouTube. This is the most people that we the most people that we have had on the stream together. Hello. We are multi-streaming to both Twitch and YouTube. I give both platforms equal time. I'm happy everyone's here. For those of you who are new to the stream, we essentially talk about religion and politics. And obviously, okay, if it's not obvious, let me just say, we do maintain the idea of the separation of church and state in this house, okay? We do think it is very important that religion should never interfere with politics. But the background I'm coming from is I was indoctrinated in the evangelical Christian church. I was also indoctrinated into conservatism, okay? Because the religious right in this country, as I talk about very often, is very much intertwined. And I have a very deep and personal experience and a lot of education surrounding religion and how it affects voting patterns and how deconstruction from high demand religions like Christianity, like evangelical Christianity in this country, how to go about that. So I do talk about politics a lot. There's a lot of political theory I still have to learn. But for those of you who are new here, thank you so much for being here. We have a lot of really intense conversations. I am generally not chill about all of the terrible things in this world, but we still have fun. We have a lot of, we talk about the things that I think matter. So thank you for being here. What we're talking about today is why people are generally leaving religion throughout the world. The Friendly Atheist on YouTube is a really great resource for this. He does a lot of activism surrounding the separation of church and state. So his YouTube, we're on his YouTube. His Substack newsletter is a really powerful resource. He emails me, I swear, every day, not me personally, but he emails, he sends out an email newsletter almost every day, I feel like, about ways that the religious right in this country, how Christian nationalists are actively in the courts and trying to consolidate power and influence and money. And so I love giving this creator a lot of recognition because it is seriously important work. So everything from Southwest lawyers don't have to go through right-wing religious freedom training. Kentucky cops are paying Christian ministries to train their dogs at Ark Encounter, whatever the fuck Ark Encounter means. Conservative Christian pastor Josh Buice trolled himself out of power. So you can see, these are two a day. Friendly Atheist Hemant Mehta is the guy's name. Does a lot of really, really important work that I try to keep up with. Unfortunately, my home state of Oklahoma is often featured in the Friendly Atheist work because we are so fucking right-wing here. A curriculum coup, Oklahoma Republicans allow right-wing rewrite of history. We very much talk about that a lot. And Ryan Walters, look at this Look at this guy. Look at him. Look at my home state. How embarrassing. How embarrassing. Oh my good goddess. Yeah. Oh, the Ark encounter is that life-size Noah's Ark. Oh my gosh. I did not know that. I can't. Yeah, why the initial state standards for social studies were a problem. And so again, so I really like the friendly atheist work here, right? And so this is insane. The social studies thing was insane. It was about so many different things. This social studies bill or whatever, Ryan Walters, what is his title? Is it superintendent of the education in Oklahoma? He's high in the political sphere for education in the state of Oklahoma, which, by the way, my home state is ranked 46th in education in this country, and it's because of idiots like this. Oh my God. I don't remember everything. Yeah, here, the new standards are among the strongest in the country. Pro-American exceptionalism. Oh my God, it was so bad. Oh yeah, and mention the Bible in public school social studies. Oklahoma is putting the Bible and the historical impact of Christianity back in school. We are demanding that our children learn the full and true context of our nation's founding and the principles that made and continue to make America great and exceptional. Crazy. I can't. And eradicate radical woke influences from our school. Yeah. Look, this is in the bill. Explain the purpose and meaning of the pledge. Can you guys see this? Of the Pledge of Allegiance and the significance of the phrase "under God." Oh, thank you for the super chat. As an ex-Irish Catholic, I feel the Protestant work ethic comment is a slur against me, or it just makes people feel good about themselves. Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, no. That's why I was trying to engage with that chatter about how you've got to recognize that whenever your belief system starts touting anything along the lines of superiority over other beliefs, or especially your belief is unique in this one way, that is always something to be questioned. The idea, one of the first things that helped me leave the Christian church was when I thought about how I was always taught that that Christianity was unique in the sense that it was the only religion or it was the only belief system that focused on a relationship with Jesus instead of just about works or your actions. But it instead was focused on your relationship with the divine, is what I was taught. And then learning that pretty much every religion talks about some kind of relationship with the divine, and it's not that exclusive to Christianity. There's so much to that. That's a really good point. So I mean, yeah, this is